Welcome to Khmer Voices, where we shine a spotlight on the achievements of the Cambodian diaspora around the world. I'm your host, Vani, aka Vanny. Last week's episode, if you missed it, were on-the-spot interviews I conducted with 7 people. I asked some thought-provoking questions and I got some vulnerable responses back. So definitely an episode you don't want to miss if you haven't given it a listen yet. So today's episode is about the conference. The conference was so powerful. It was the first time I walked into a room not knowing anyone and felt completely at home. I'll start with an excerpt from the letter that the organizer, Dr. Christine Su, included in the program, followed by a summary of Dr. Kara Uihas's keynote address. Then I'll end with 4 takeaways. If you didn't get a chance to attend the conference, I hope this episode gives you a good idea of what was offered and what you missed out on and what you can expect next year. But if you were at the conference, I hope this serves as a reminder how important it was for us, Kon Khmer. Here's a snippet from Dr. Su's welcome letter in the program booklet. Quote, "Together, we will create a space where learning, creativity, and possibility meet. Within these pages, you will find more than a schedule of presentations. You'll find pathways to conversation and moments of reflection and glimpses of insight that may surprise, challenge, and inspire you." End quote. Dr. Su, I'm sure you know by now how wonderful this conference was for us, and I'm going to be sharing more in the takeaways later on. But for now, let's just say we cannot wait for the next one. On the keynote now. Dr. Kara Uy called her presentation Memory, Healing, and the Work of Becoming. So I'm going to give you her full bio that was in the program, just so you have a clearer picture of who she is, because she's pretty awesome. Dr. Hass is a survivor of the Khmer Rouge genocide and a Cambodian refugee whose life and work reflect the resilience, complexity, and enduring strength of the Khmer diaspora. Born into a period of upheaval and displacement, her early years were shaped by refugee life, poverty, and the long shadow of war. These experiences instilled in her a deep empathy for those navigating hardship and a lifelong commitment to service, healing, and community leadership. Like many refugees of her generation, Dr. Hass's journey has been defined by perseverance, sacrifice, and the determination to build a life beyond survival. Her work today reflects that commitment not only to individual healing, but to the collective well-being and cultural vitality of the Cambodian community. Professionally, Dr. Hass has dedicated her career to supporting individuals and families through crisis, trauma recovery, and personal transformation. She currently serves as the Crisis Support and Care Manager at Evergreen Valley College's Health and Wellness Clinic, where she's also the Mental Health Coordinator and a founding member of the Aspire Plus program, an initiative focused on improving the mental health and academic success of underserved AA and HPI students. Her work centers on trauma-informed care, crisis intervention, and fostering resilience through culturally responsive support. Now, Dr. Hass began her talk with a care disclaimer, acknowledging that this topic may trigger painful emotions, and she emphasized collective healing support available. Her presentation is a reflection of what it means for Khmer communities to be 50 years after genocide and still figuring out how to live beyond just surviving. She explained that 50 years is not just a passage of time, but a measure of what Khmer communities have carried forward: inherited memory, visible and invisible loss, silence, unspoken responsibility, and resilience, which can also become pressure. She explained memory in a powerful way. Memory isn't only something in the past, it's something that lives in us right now. And sometimes it's in our thoughts, but often in our bodies and habits. So even when our families don't talk about trauma directly, we still inherit things like fear, silence, and the feeling we have to hold everything together. And when we don't name these things, they don't disappear. they become how we live. She also talked about how trauma shows up physically, like tension, urgency, always being on alert. And the body remembers things that words can't always explain. Whew! Do you feel that? Doesn't this just explain so much? Dr. Hess then moved on to survival, and she was very clear. Survival is not weakness. It's actually adaptation. But the problem is that survival patterns can become our everyday personality, and it manifests when you're overworking, you're never resting, always feeling responsible and struggling to receive help. You're always preparing for something to go wrong. What once protected us can also start to limit us. She pointed out survival strategies are not meant to be permanent. They get us through, not define us. She made me feel seen with that. It's one thing to think it yourself, but when you hear others say it too, it doesn't feel as lonely. You don't feel as alone. She then introduced the idea of survival debt, that feeling many children of survivors carry, like we have to earn joy or prove we deserve a good life or justify our existence because others didn't get the chance to live. Which led to the big question of the presentation. She asked, is survival enough? Is getting through life enough? My answer to that is, it was before, but not now. We're not required to be in survival mode anymore. That's not our life anymore. So from there, she talked about healing, and she reframed it in a way that feels grounding. Healing isn't about erasing the past or fixing it yourself. It's about awareness and integration. Learning what you're carrying, what's driving you, and what's yours versus what's inherited. Healing is learning to relate differently to the pain, the grief, and the patterns. And you know what? This is where I am now, and I think a lot of you are too. Am I wrong? Dr. Hess also emphasized that healing isn't a destination, it's a practice. Small shifts like noticing patterns, pausing before reacting, and understanding discomfort instead of running from it. Yeah, it feels like this is where I am. Dr. Hess reminded us that growth and grief can exist at the same time. You can be healing and still carry pain. You can be thriving and still grieving. So many truth bombs, right? Okay, she also touched on post-traumatic growth, meaning rebuilding life into something more meaningful and whole. Not going back to who we were before trauma, but evolving into something new. She lists the ways people often grow after trauma, like having a deeper strength, gratitude, stronger relationships, new possibilities. Then she expanded the lens to cover generational healing. Healing isn't just individual, it's cultural, relational, and spiritual. She highlighted the evolution across generations. The first generation survived. The 1.5 generation bridged worlds. So I identify as 1.5 generation. I was born in Thailand, but grew up in Canada. And the second generation reflects and questions. Finally, she introduced what she calls the work of becoming. And that's the part where we start choosing how we want to live, not just reacting, not just meeting expectations, not just surviving. Becoming is imperfect and ongoing, and it's intentional. She gives examples of what becoming looks like in real life. So, resting without guilt, breaking cycles of hypervigilance, setting boundaries without shame, elders allowing themselves to receive care, and people investing in creativity, joy, and advocacy. That's me now. I'm healing and becoming. It's not one phase and on to the next, but feels like I'm in an overlapping transition. I chose to leave my secure 9-to-5 job to pursue podcasting and creative endeavors on a full-time basis. Prior to that, I was working like I was trying to survive. And when I slowed down and looked at my life, I realized I saw that I'm privileged to be in a position to pursue something that brings me more meaning at this time. Okay, she ends her presentation, her keynote, with a powerful message. We survive, we rebuilt, and now we become. Survival may be what we inherited, but healing is what we're responsible for, and becoming is what we can offer as a gift to the next generation. Man, I felt all the emotions during Dr. Hass's speech, and most of all, I felt empowered after it. It reaffirmed I'm on the right path. Thank you, Dr. Hass, for setting such a tone for the conference. Okay, so I found this conference to be worth the trip. What exactly did I walk away with? So there were a lot of sessions and presentations, and there were so many that I wanted to attend, but I couldn't just because they were happening at the same time. But yes, definitely an event that anyone from the Khmer diaspora would benefit from. But in terms of what I walked away with, I have 4. First is we're not done healing. We're becoming and embracing our heritage. A few months ago, I felt we're past the healing stage, but after attending this conference and listening to Dr. Hass's speech, my emotions were still raw. I realized I and others around me are still healing, and we can do this work and become at the same time. So yeah, that's my first takeaway. We can heal and become at the same time. My second takeaway is more of a reminder than a takeaway. Remember, it's cool to be Cambodian. I mentioned I used to be ashamed because of the recent history people know us for. I didn't really understand, the history preceding that. But the last several years, my feelings have shifted to be full of pride. We've done the work, we're doing the work, and we're giving back to our communities. I'm so incredibly proud of guests on Khmer Voices, the people that I met at the conference, and the people I've gotten to know through social media, doing the work to uplift our people. Third takeaway. Okay, I mentioned this at the beginning, so I'm just going to expand on it. It's feeling the empowerment, being in the same room as other people. I felt completely empowered to be in rooms with Khmer leaders, artists, scholars, creatives, the very kind of people the Khmer Rouge targeted. And these are the people whose work challenges repressive regimes, the ones that create the tools for dissent, truth-telling, and challenging propaganda. I felt like I could never dream too big in these rooms. And in fact, one of my dreams I shared in the creative writing workshop facilitated by Sonari Pen. I'm sorry, I hope I pronounced your name right. She's the executive director of the Cambodian Literary Arts Association in Lowell. I wrote, "In my dreams, I am one of many Khmer creators in the media landscape working to center our stories, produced by us and recognized worldwide as a collective, making culturally relevant, evocative, and innovative art so the world no longer questions who we are." Now, the fourth and last takeaway is that we need to create opportunities for young Khmers to lead in order for us to continue thriving. They're our future. Have them lead a project at your nonprofit, your business, provide mentorship. I know so many of us are doing this now. Keep it up and continue planting the seeds so our community thrives beyond the next 50 years. That's all I have for now. I hope you enjoyed this episode about the Khmer Diaspora Conference in Lowell, home to the second largest Cambodian population in the U.S. It was completely needed, and I feel like it propelled me even further to pursue my dreams. The connections made were incredible, and I cannot wait for the next one. I keep saying that. I can't wait. Okay, if you're enjoying Khmer Voices, please share it with someone who'd appreciate it too. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Akun Charan for listening.